Hello, Smashers. We are back for episode 6 of Smash Course. The usual 4 are here, so we're ready to launch into this week's big topic. We're not going to waste any time. Summit 5. Congratulations, HBox. This is amazing that how every week practically we're so honored to talk about your wins essentially. Yeah. So how about we just kind of go straight into why you are now the top of the Smash world and how you feel at the end of the major season.
People actually ask me how what'd you change? What'd you do? And then honestly, I think I only started winning after we started this talk show. So I think it was a good thing, good thing going. Dude, it's just been me and Coach Lewis Crunch just working together. Does better than we ever have, and just playing the game not with the intent of being the best, but to play the best that I can play. And that was a big mentality change, because sometimes your best isn't the best in the world, and that's okay. There's 7 billion people in the world. You can't always intend to be the best at something that you do. But if your best happens to be that peak, if your best happens to be something new and fresh that other people haven't really figured out yet or come up with, then you just take that and you fly with it, and you master a matchup, the Puff Fox matchup that for so long plagued me. And now that I think we figured out a formula that works not just against one top Fox but all of them. So the streak continues, and I got my Trofeo right here for Smash Summit 5.
Hey,
nice.
So this basically says I ended Armada's 4-peat streak, and now I won the past 5 sets against him, I think, which I don't think anyone has done since a European player in 2007. So it's some big feats for myself, some new records that I'm setting, and some new expectations I'm setting for myself. But I'm just really excited because everyone's going for my neck now. But that's it gives me a rush. It makes me feel alive. Right. So I'm just super happy to have even fallen into this position, and I'm happy that I was able to ask for help when I needed it with Lewis, and ask for the assistance from my team from Liquid when I needed it, and I just played my cards at the right time and put my money down at the right time when I needed to. So just thank you to everyone on the team, and thank you again to Smash Summit for just a phenomenal, incredible, unforgettable 5-day experience. It was fucking awesome, to say the least.
Yeah, and just as an observation, even last week when we were talking, you had kind of a calm, cool, and collected attitude about going into Summit, and I think that does play into your results. So I think a lot of people should lean on their coaches and their friends and family that they have out there, whether they're on a team or not, and just kind of gain that sort of strength to go into
that support system, right? For sure. It makes too much sense to not have one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Having a cool head, I think, matters so much at the top levels. You see a lot of people start to lose when they have pressure on them and expectations, right? They kind of defeat themselves before even getting to fight the opponent. So I think your mindset is a really strong point you have going for you, and also having a coach, the players that do have dedicated coaches, that's possibly a unique advantage to them. It's you've got someone always trying to bring you back to your center.
Yeah. To me, I'm just surprised that more people haven't really, taking advantage of that yet, because even once you have that coach, once you have that extra set of eyes, it exceeds expectations. I'll be sitting down with Lewis, and he's watching me play friendlies, and he's like, Juan, how come you're not doing this anymore? I'm just like, oh, you're right, the thing I did last week, I'm not doing anymore. He's like, yeah, just do it. Okay. And then I remember the rest of the weekend, just little tiny hints, tidbits there. It never has to be too extra. It's always, keep it simple, stupid. It's always what I believe. So yeah.
Every great writer has an editor, man.
Yeah.
Straight up.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, Teresa. Hey.
Yeah, well, it's true, though. I think a lot of esports players, go above and beyond once they get that coach. But regardless, I think everybody in the scene supporting each other in Smash is important, too. So you have a lot of friends and fans pushing you on, and that kind of, spirit bomb effect is happening for you as well. So I guess we'll be seeing you next at a major event. You said Genesis, right?
Yes, I'm considering perhaps taking a little break, just because it's been 8 weeks of just nonstop travel, just back to back, and like I said, I literally could not have done better these past 8 weeks, and I exceeded a lot of my own expectations, and I think I owe it to myself just to have a little bit of a cool down period, and then get right back at it when the year picks up in Genesis. Spend some time with my family, some close friends. I'm gonna go see some concerts. Just focus on Juan for now a little bit, and just ride the victory lap for a little bit. But
what concerts are you gonna see? I'm a big music fan, so I need to.
I saw Iron and Wine last night. He's a big bearded guy with a guitar. He's a little bit, and I'm seeing Bon Iver on Friday. It's Bon Iver, whatever you want to call it. I like indie artists a lot. But just I'm gonna go to a lot of stuff and just enjoy my time. May fly to Georgia, visit some friends. I think Tipped Off is this weekend, which I won't be attending, but it's gonna be some good talent there as well. And Super Famicom is in 2 weeks, which I was originally going to go to, but I might decline my attendance now. So I'll talk to him, figure that out. I'll keep you guys posted on that. But yeah, just mental break is good.
Good for everybody, for sure. And the holiday season helps, so that gets you in that mode. But that's awesome. Congrats again. We were so excited for you. But I think we're going to kind of move into the other events topic. Generally, Max, I brought this up before this meeting, that there's increasing prize pools throughout Smash, and there's good and bad effects of that. There's also scheduling issues where people are using prizing to get ahead on a date in the scene. So I'll let you take that. You guys have a lot to say about it. I think it's very interesting.
Yeah, sure. I think I just want to preface this, like anything that I say on the topic, like I'm still very much in favor of larger prize pools. I think they almost directly correlate with things improving for the scene. However, it's not like the sole thing that can carry an event to success. We've seen, events with huge pop bonuses be a flop on the organizational or production end, and, people just end up walking away with a bad time. That said, there are like so many good things about it, namely that it dignifies the sport as like something that you really see is worth your time. When you look at the number one or the top games in terms of earnings for the players, you see CSGO, you see League of Legends, you don't see Super Smash Bros, right? So I feel like it's a big part of our gateway step into becoming not just esports, because I feel like we already are a major esport, but really like career level gaming quality.
And large prize pools oftentimes are an indicator of just added resources in general to the event. So, bigger budgets to work with for production, tournament organizers, etc. So that's a good indicator. What usually happens with events that go sour as a result of pop bonuses is just like they put all their resources into just, the prize pool for the event, and everything else falls flat. Because truth be told, only a select few % of your competitors are going to actually be walking away with any of that prize pool. So it's also really important to build an event that appeals to every single level of expertise of people that are entering the competition. And that was something that we talked about, I think, in last week's episode, as how majors themselves can stand apart from other tournaments and how they can succeed in this new era of quote unquote esports for Smash events. So while I do welcome additional prize pools, sometimes you definitely see some tournaments that just pop up and you can tell that they focused way too heavily on, okay, we're going to market the pop bonus versus how are we going to make the event as a whole, like, foundation, like, solid.
Well, let's talk about some specific examples, I guess. We just broke down before our call real quick, but I'll explain it for anyone unfamiliar. The 2GG iBuyPower event this weekend on Saturday and Sunday in SoCal, conflicting with an event called Port Priority in Washington State, right? So this tournament was announced kind of last minute, maybe 3 weeks ago. Still a decent amount of notice, but nothing too serious. And essentially 2GG and iBuyPower are teaming up to bring a $10,000 pop bonus tournament to SoCal on the same day as a regional that was announced way in advance in Port Priority 2. So there was a lot of backlash from both Washington and SoCal, actually, because some SoCal players are trying to go, and now like players from out of region are canceling on Port Priority to go to the iBuyPower event.
Right.
It's like, does this artificial, quote unquote, injection of money hurt grassroots organic tournaments? And in this case, I would say, honestly, not really. Port Priority is very far away from SoCal. I don't know if anyone disagrees with me. I guess I'll let you guys comment on at least this specific incident and your general thoughts on the matter.
Like I said, I've been a TO myself too, and I've also been to many events, sometimes events that conflict on the same day. TOs is a business because you're competing with other businesses, right? You're competing with other TOs to bring attendance to your event because you don't want to be in the red for your event. So you do things like you put a big pop bonus to attract top players, and attracting top players gets more incentive for the low-level players to come. That's usually how it works, and it's been a winning formula, especially now that Melee is a big esport, from the fighting game world at least. But when you have two events on the same day, and neither TO refuses to budge, you're going to have split because you have allegiance to one TO, to one company. You have people who don't care about, oh, who cares where top player is going, or who cares about a big pot bonus. I'm not going to place in the money anyway. I want to go something closer than me. Everyone benefits when you adequately schedule events on the calendar and you communicate with other TOs in the area way ahead of time. And there needs to be a system, perhaps implemented by Smash GG or some app that already exists, that is basically a forum where someone can put a bid or a claim on a date on a calendar. And the first one to do it gets the first laugh. And as soon as you know that you're going to do it or not, it should be your event. But at the same time, I can be a TO and say, you know what? April 22nd, 2018, I claim it right now for my big 50K national event. And I have no idea. Right now, it's a bit like me doing that and me having absolutely no organization or knowledge of how I'm going to do it. But if I say I'm going to do it and figure it out, then it's fine. The question is, how far ahead of time and what proof does the TO need to have an adequate and fair timing of an event to not screw over other TOs, but to also bring good attendance to his event? It's a very delicate balancing act.
Joe, I think you have an experience with this.
Like, communication is the biggest thing. And beyond communication, like proper communication. Like, it's not enough just to say, hey, I'm doing X date. Like, it's, hey, I'm looking at this date range. What works in the region? Is there anything conflicting? Because you might, honest to goodness, have, wanted X date, but someone already has something planned. There's history behind an event being on that general timeline, so they haven't really looked into it. So I think that's where communication and, transparency with the Smash calendar is a big problem, I think, with the scene in general, because no one truthfully knows when X event is happening without, consulting through a third party or like word of mouth. There's no direct way to just say, okay, I'm looking at X weekend. Is anything happening? So that's something that we can improve on for sure. In terms of the iBuyPower situation, like, I don't really think it hurts the conflicting event as much as it hurts their scenes, just, I guess, overall prestige in a sense. Because I feel like what they want is our event to be the top event of this weekend. You know what I'm saying? They're looking forward to their community, I guess, receiving that extra attention and the benefit of being the focal point of the community just for that weekend. So by having a bigger event come around on late notice, I could see them feeling sort of overshadowed in that regard. Because truth be told, like you said, the people that are planning to go, for the most part, are still going to go to that tournament that they're signed up for. It's not attendance that's going to take a decline. It's going to be more so general interest in people watching the event. Like for Smash 4, if you want to go on Twitch, you're probably going to watch the iBuyPower event because they have more top players, more on the line, just more resources behind the production of it all. So it is unfortunate in that regard. And communication is the only thing that I could really see fixing that in the future.
Yeah, that's another plus point, I think, for pot bonuses, right? It's not just that the top players benefit. As HBox said, more low-level players will attend to meet them, to see them face-to-face. And then, Joe, like you just said, there's more on the line. So it's a lot more of an intense viewership experience. Also, I mean, let's talk about Summit, too, right? Like, there was a huge pot at that tournament. And, I think overall that was a resounding success. People were hyped that there was so much online. What was the exact amount again?
The whole pot size, because actually it kept increasing as the event was going on over the weekend. So it started at a 75K pot, and then it eventually hit 84 by the time I was there. So $84,000 for a 16-man invitational, by far the largest pot offered in any Smash tournament of all time, Melee and or Brawl or 64 or Wii U, the biggest ones. Right. And that's because Beyond the Summit was smart in taking an initiative on doing a properly based compendium with an app as sophisticated and clean as Smash GG with live voting. It just really made the process a lot more interactive, and it gave people a lot more incentive. And we were there in the house. They had all the custom Smash GG controller adapters and the Beyond the Summit posters and the hoodies and all the merchandise they had to ship out. It was tons, like a room full of boxes. And it gets paid for by the people who bought the merchandise for votes. That's the nice thing about it. You're not just spending votes blindly. You're getting some sick-ass merchandise from what's considered to be the most prestigious invitational series in Smash. So the quality they make the content they make is very good, and the products that they have are also very, in the eyes of Smashers and Smash aficionados, very valuable. So they're just doing a really great job with it. And I'm just surprised that it took this long for an organization to do it as well as they do. So I'm happy it exists. But as we saw with the Smash 4 Invitational, which, fingers crossed, I might hopefully assist with in some way, it's just a matter of time before the other games pick this up and really have this kind of event to celebrate the personalities and vibrant players and just results that people have been showing. When you have that sort of invite half players and get some results and then have the other half players be voted in, you get the best of both worlds.
Yeah, and this kind of brings me to, like, I guess my closing point on this is, like, we see so much money at Summit, right, but only 16 players, and there were some guest passes for, what, like $1,000 or something? It costs a lot of money to be there, I believe, if you were an invitee. So is this kind of the trend that we're going to go toward, is, like, Melee or is Smash in general going to become kind of more of an exclusive thing, or, like, where all the money is centered at, like, these really high production events where it's only the best of the best, kind of like gods and gatekeepers as well, right? Is the corporate money really only flowing into putting on exhibits with the top players? Or are we going to see that, I don't want to say trickle down because I feel like that's a loaded term, but is it going to reach the Genesises and big houses of the world, right? Like, I don't know if we'll ever see that kind of a prize pool at an event with grassroots history or something, but I think we will. I have no reason to be so pessimistic about it. I kind of think like Summit and Gods and Gatekeepers are just these companies' first forays into really putting big money behind Smash, like Red Bull, flagship sponsor of Get On My Level, you know, so we've already seen them be kind to the community in other ways. So I don't know. I'm kind of optimistic about it. I think more money flowing into the scene is always a good thing, whether it's ending up in Hungrybox's hands as a top player or like whether it's resulting in, you know, the average tournament goer getting a free meal or some other like quality of event experience booster. I think it's all going to come full circle, and like the Smash community is very honest and giving. So I feel like it'll hit everybody. That's just me.
And that's a good positive way to look at it, because, you know, you can easily descend into the kind of negative thinking that, you know, equality is great, but it can also, you know, not be realistic. But let's see what happens. We have time to see how the scene adjusts. And yeah, communication is key for every relationship, whether it's in Smash or in your daily life. So I think that kind of transitions a little bit into this week in SoCal qualifier, right? Do you want to talk about what happened last weekend and what's going on this coming weekend, and, you know, kind of 5-minute wrap up?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, before we even get into last weekend's results, just kind of piggybacking off of the iBuyPower event controversy, it's actually in direct conflict with our SoCal Smash 4 qualifier as well. Well, Melee and Smash 4, but the iBuyPower event is Smash 4 only. So we still have, I believe it's 8 teams currently signed up for the SoCal Smash 4 side, which is a resounding success. You know, that's one of our higher numbers.
Yeah, that's a huge turnout.
And yeah, the fact that like people are speaking with their money, right? They're saying pretty much, well, we want to go to this instead of the iBuyPower event. Like, we also have reached out to them individually, and the consensus is, yeah, it's fine. Like, the $10,000 pop bonus, you know, Zero and Nairo can worry about that, but like, we don't care. We made plans.
It's what your events cater to, right?
Yeah, like
it comes full circle to exactly what we talked about.
I think they're just happy also to have a tournament that's geared toward them specifically as college students. Like, it's a niche special tournament, so they're totally fine with missing something, especially because Leo Saga was last weekend in the same venue, right? Like, it's another kind of part of this controversy is that they just had an S-tier major a few days ago, and now they're doing it. But anyway, I guess, Joe, I'll let you recap some of the results from last weekend.
Sure. So for Midwest East, UIUC took it home. That would be for Melee. And for Smash 4, OSU walked away as the champs. Now, Four Corners had, you know, a smaller turnout. It was a little bit more quiet of an event, but still a very respectable first place from Embry-Riddle Aeronautic University.
They're the only
team that actually came through. But I think in name alone, they stand out against everyone so far that I've seen in these brackets. And then for Smash 4, we had a round robin between Estrella Mountain, Grand Canyon, and Utah University, and Utah took that home.
Yeah, they actually had a stacked roster, man. They had, I think, 3 power-ranked players from Utah, which, if you guys don't know about Utah and Smash 4, like, I know HBox, you went to GTX, I'm not sure if you saw, but Utah Smash 4 is so real. Mm-hmm. Like, nobody knows about these
guys. They go in, dude.
Yeah.
Yep.
You're not going to see them on...
Yeah,
like, Best Nest
serious.
Yeah, Best Nest is indeed from Utah. There's also... the players that were on this team were TSS, who's ranked 8th, Calculus, who's ranked 4th.
Calculus is really
Yeah,
solid.
he plays Bayonetta. He's really sick. And I want to say there was another power ranked Utah player, but I can't recall off the top of my head. These guys went in. They like just smoked the competition.
Another interesting observation I had from specifically the Four Corners Smash 4 teams is a lot of them had more than 5 people. So this is one of the first regions where we're seeing, 7, 10-person teams and really using counter picks and effectively, placing your players in at the right times against the right matchups coming into play, which is something I always like to see because this is something that me and Max have gone back and forth on, where I think having one team with a deeper roster might be better for the longevity as a whole of the program versus having like an A, B, C team. That way, everyone's working cohesively towards the same goal, and you have one team representing the school working towards national finals.
I mean, you generally see that in other CSL games too. A deeper roster means more flexibility. Subbing and other aspects can come into play where you can't use it on a limited roster. And also, shout outs to Utah for just having an incredible esports program in general. They've really gone deep into making that happen for every one of their games. And Smash is not a surprise for me that they're taking it seriously.
Yeah. Even perhaps adding a coach, we could start seeing.
Yeah, that's actually
teams.
something people have been doing. Yeah. I've seen people on the roster signed up as a coach specifically. So that could be an alumni or somebody that isn't eligible to compete, a part-time student or someone like on leave of absence. So yeah, it's definitely something worth investigating, not only as an individual player but as a team. And then also for Colorado, we had Mines take home Melee. And there was only one team for Smash 4 as well, unfortunately. So, kind of some quiet regions out in the deep southwest / mountain region. So we're definitely going to improve, localized advertising for that next year, really get that region more involved and aware of the program and stuff. So this weekend we've got SoCal and American Northwest, which is near Seattle. So SoCal is looking huge for Smash 4, as we said, even in the face of the 2GG event. Melee, we're definitely expecting a solid turnout.
I think Melee is going to come through late in the game. SoCal has a deep history of being really big for TMG, so I'm sure we'll see in the last 24 hours.
Captain Face Roll will be playing, correct? Yeah,
repping UCI, who are looking like national favorites, quite honestly, just based on their track record and their current roster. SoCal doing big things in both games, which is great to see.
Yeah, and then up in the Northwest, it remains to be seen what kind of power players they'll have. But, we did an event with them at PAX West just a couple months ago, and that was pretty successful. A lot of good players showed up for that. So hope to see some of them represent their schools.
Yeah, make it out, guys. You have a little more time left to register. So if you haven't, get in on that. And I would love to see if one day Hungrybox is going to be a coach for University of Florida or something. Wants him. That could be a possibility down the road. I get this vibe that the secret theme of this episode was how important coaching is.
Yeah.
Coach Louis.
We'll see. But I think that one of the best parts about the show is that we're able to kind of make these universal kind of themes happen. So reflect on them, comment on our YouTube and Twitter, and let's make sure that we are here and ready for next week. Thank you, guys. This is an awesome episode. We'll see you in episode 7.
All right, guys. See you.